Have you ever played with weather enabled on Cities Skylines 1 and just felt that it was there to only create ambiance and slow your game? I'm sure that as soon as the rain started pouring down, that a good number of us realized that we forgot to turn off the weather effect since it would sometimes slow down our games. Well, as far as I understand it in Cities Skylines 2, it seems like weather and climate will be more revered in the sequel to what I think is the greatest city builder game on the market. And today, I'm looking to share my thoughts on the weather and seasons gameplay aspects that we can expect. And for those that are new here or just discovering my channel, my name is Michael and I want to welcome you to Sovereign Gaming in City Builders. This is the YouTube channel where I build worlds, cities, and share my thoughts on video games in the city builder gaming space. So, a very prominent missing piece of gameplay from Cities Skylines 1 was seasons and climates on maps. Sure, it was interpreted on custom maps and all that with different lighting settings and all that, but the reason why this felt like it was missing to players is that in Cities Skylines 1, we were given a calendar or a timeline in a bottom corner that tracked the days, months, and years without any climate changes occurring on the map. There are even Cities Skylines influencers out there who would go through the painful process of converting their maps to reflect seasonal changes that are occurring in the real world today, at the risk of losing their saves and series progress. That was a huge risk on their part, so I do commend them for that, but it was definitely, it definitely shows that seasonal gameplay is missed if it's not, seasonal gameplay was certainly missed, to say the very least. Even if the demand for seasonal gameplay wasn't yelled at the top of rooftops, it was certainly present in one way or another. In fact, the closest we got to seasonal changes were in the Snowfall DLC, and that was just on a map-by-map basis. And that's some gameplay that Cities Skylines 2 answers. The way that Cities Skylines 2 aims to make seasonal gameplay available for players is by setting up maps with three basic climate types that they are assigned, either temperate climates, continental climates, and polar climates. Temperate climates are said to have distinct seasonal changes, moderate precipitation, and a wide temperature range. Continental climates have to introduce what they do is they introduce a significant annual variations in temperature for those continental climate maps. And lastly, polar regions feature a short and cold summer and a long-lasting cold winter, according to Paradox. And much like how there is an emphasis on citizen behaviors based on income levels and age groups, sim behaviors are also influenced by the weather, according to Paradox. For example, on cold or rainy days, sims will prefer to do indoor activities like shop rather than going to a park. Much like what was offered as gameplay in the Snowfall DLC of Cities Skylines, we're also told that there will be certain city demands during different seasons, such as power grids demanding more energy for air conditioning or heaters during summer or winter. And road maintenance from Snowfall has made its way back in the base game of Cities Skylines 2 with a more year-round set of functions, including the ability to clear up traffic accidents, if I remember that one correctly. Because if I do, I think the police are also involved in Cities Skylines 2. Comment below. I believe that the road maintenance crew also clears up accidents, but again, I'm kind of just doubting myself in the middle of recording. Anyways, for me, designing cities for seasons is certainly gameplay that I would enjoy, as I very much think that city builder games should pose challenges for players beyond its zoning and beyond traffic management, and infrastructure to handle seasonal changes is certainly a welcome challenge on my end. I can see myself now activating the second power plant or purchasing additional power from the neighbors in order to get my sims, my sim citizens through summer or winter. Granted, we really haven't seen a lot of winter gameplay even in the smattering of early access series that are being run by Cities Skylines influencers on YouTube, so I really haven't seen the snowplow in action. Of course, I haven't watched them all, so if there is a good gameplay video showing some good winter play from one of them, then feel free to drop a comment with a link and all of that. I'm happy to support another channel and all of that, of course, so no problems there for me. Anyways, one of my principles when designing for cities, and you guys will get exposed to this in my upcoming Cities Skylines 2 series, is that I like to design for purpose. And having that road maintenance facility and giving it the space it needs for upgrades and making it a real place in an industrial corner of the city gives it that purpose. And challenges like that to me are really just opportunities to do some storytelling through design, and I honestly can't wait to work with elements like this in my upcoming series. I think that one thing that we should have offered to players as an option is the ability to turn on or off a season indefinitely on the map. I think that certain players would enjoy having the option to just play a map within one season, but I also would like this option so I could fill my city progressing to match the season that my audience is in. Or at least match the season that I'm in. I think that would just be some fun seasonal gameplay. I get that in the camera options we can take pictures in different seasons, but I would really like an option to turn on winter, for example, and build within winter until I actually get to the spring months in real life. If I just happen to have missed this and all of the information and previews, again, feel free to drop that comment. I don't mind being corrected in this case. I'd rather have you guys get the accurate information. I also wanted to point out that there seems to be less disasters in the base game than what we get in the Disasters DLC. And in the Disasters DLC, we got earthquakes, sinkholes, tsunamis, and more, whereas in Cities Skylines 2 base game, we're really only getting forest fires, hailstorms, and tornadoes. Now, I'm not disappointed as I barely ever played with disasters and I'll likely turn mine off in my future playthrough, but to me this almost looks like a clue that perhaps more disasters are on the way as part of future DLC. For me, I can usually tell how a franchise is going to grow and become based on what's offered within the amount of features that the base game offers. Like, I think that what sometimes happens with larger gaming developers and corporations is that they forget that their base game is the backbone of their franchise and that the base game itself has to be marketable and something that you can technically sell. And what ends up happening is that a gaming studio looks at a game as part of a franchise rather than as a standalone game. This is definitely not the case here with Cities Skylines 2, and I actually think that the amount of gameplay offered in Cities Skylines 2 goes above and beyond in a lot of ways, and that it future-proofs itself by establishing really well-made core features. I think that the lack of disasters is a symptom of this because it was offered in the previous Cities Skylines 1 franchise as a standalone DLC, whereas disaster gameplay is offered directly in the base game, and more importantly, ways to respond to disasters. And so I suspect that more disasters will be released in future DLC, but that's just me. I also think that the way that specialized industries are set up could also be gameplay that gets further expanded upon in the future of the franchise, since like right now it isn't robust or challenging as the industry's DLC was in Cities Skylines 1, and so it's setting up your franchise while not taking away from the gameplay of your base game that impresses me the most with Cities Skylines 2, and it gives me hope that the franchise is going to be epic. Now, taking it back to weather and seasons, I also think that this kind of gameplay adds a really great foundation for what weather and seasons gameplay will evolve to in the future of the franchise. Just on the maps available and to be designed, I guess, by map designers, that would be enough to cater to this kind of gameplay feature that's unique in the Cities Skylines 2 franchise. But if Paradox really wanted to take it further, they could expand upon the idea of subclimates instead of just having the 3 climates offered in the base game, being temperate, continental, and polar. The Colossal Order team in this speculation could introduce subclimates like tropical, etc. climates, and then just adjust the precipitation change percentages accordingly, and perhaps the lighting too. That's all great stuff to like expand upon, and in my opinion, a very good problem for a company to have, which is having a really great base game foundation that you can grow from. And so that's what I think will end up happening anyways, since modders will introduce subclimates in their own mods and all that. So if Colossal Order decides not to expand upon subclimates, the modders absolutely will. And again, I think that's a good problem to have, because if you're not willing to invest your own corporate money into developing this feature, then modders will be able to offer it to players, and then both ways, like, players are still playing your game. So it's a win-win for everyone. But I want to know what you have to think about climate and weather making its way into the Cities Skylines 2 base game. Do you think that climate and weather will be expanded upon in future DLC? Are you looking forward to being challenged by seasonal weather as you build your city, or are you going to turn off all of your weather and climate settings? Comment below with your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you in regards to this. And if you enjoyed this video and would like to keep up with my content, then feel free to like this video and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Anyways, thank you again for watching Sovereign Gaming in City Builders, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.